Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
A weekly podcast and YouTube channel where we discuss all things Wrexham AFC from the point of view of long-term fans and new fans.
So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in. Hello and welcome to episode 78 of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC. Happy 2024 to everyone.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
I'll be honest, I feel so fat and disgusting. I feel horrible. Really, absolutely horrible, I do. I just feel...
All bought on by yourself, but to be fair.
Yeah, probably. It's all the beer and the food, drinking every day, eating every day. I know I always eat every day. It's not really the point. I just mean just eating...
Rubbish.
Yeah, not even rubbish, just really stodgy
Every time you go in the kitchen, I can hear you opening a packet of something and munching away, so...
I know. It just feels horrible. And I think it makes me appreciate a little bit more footballers at this time of year because...
Yeah.
What they have to, it's not so much what they get paid very well for what they do, don't get me wrong, but what they sort of have to go through and what they have to give up just so they can, entertain us and earn a lot of money in the process.
James McLean said he was in bed by 10:30, was it?
It was his wife. It was his wife, actually.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I saw her on Twitter saying that she posted something at 11 saying she was ready for New Year's and she was sitting, but she said James had been in bed for an hour because he was playing today.
That's professionalism for you.
Yeah.
And it showed today.
Unless James was sitting next to her going... Do us
a
favour, send a tweet out saying I've been in bed for an hour.
He seems quite hardcore that he'd be able to drink and still be okay for a good game of football the next day.
Maybe. But I think maybe he's hardcore in the sense of professional as well. So maybe, he's full on
focused, yeah.
Yeah, but it does make me, but yeah, I just feel like, I'll be honest, it's the first out of 78 episodes that we've done. It's one of the only ones where when we've gone to do it and I've gone, oh God, so we have to do it now because I've just had a massive fry up as well. I've been drinking all day and then I've had
You've not been drinking all day, come on.
No, since earlier on. And then I've had a fry up. And then the Liverpool game's on. I'd quite like to watch Liverpool-Newcastle.
While you're watching that, I'm having a sleep.
Yeah,
back in work on Tuesday.
It's my last day before work. I'll have to have a couple of beers just to final little send off of the holiday.
Right, enough of you moaning about how sad your life is.
Yeah, I know.
Let's get cracking. So, news.
Are you moving me on?
I'm moving you on swiftly.
All right then.
Before we lose viewers and listeners.
Yeah.
So news. Jake Bickerstaff.
Yeah.
He has signed a contract extension.
Yeah, until the end of 2025?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But...
No, 25, 26. It's in my notes. Should have read them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Paul Mullin and Elliot Lee have both signed. This was announced on New Year's Day, literally 1 minute past midnight.
Yeah.
They have both signed long-term contracts, extended the contract. They were supposed to be with us until their contracts were 25-26 season, I believe.
And now they're 26-27.
Yes, so that's good.
It is. Let's take them one at a time then. So we've got Jake first.
Yep.
Surprised? Happy?
I'm happy.
Yeah.
Because I do think he is a great talent. I think he's really, really good. But I have to agree with what a lot of people are saying on social media. He's not getting any game time at the minute.
Not really.
Not in league games anyway. Maybe he'll get the odd FA trophy or whatever.
We don't play in that.
I don't know. Whatever, FA Cup games and all that kind of stuff. But I think what people have said, and I agree, that he should maybe this month being the transfer window, maybe putting him out on loan. To a National League side, maybe. just to give him a bit more.
Somebody did comment. We have sort of talked about this. I did mention that before, but somebody did make a very good point, and I do apologise because I can't remember who it was who made this point. I didn't note it down. But what they did say is if they go on loan to a National League team, if Jake goes on loan to a National League team, for the remainder of the season, and he plays regularly, he scores goals, and we go up, then all of a sudden it's quite a big jump from National League to League One. He's not coming back to a League Two team. He's coming back to a League One team when he already couldn't get into the League Two team. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
So it's almost you're taking a step backwards to take one step forwards. That makes sense.
But two steps forward.
To take one step back to then have to take two steps forward might be a little bit too much. But
they've obviously got, Parky and the team have obviously got. When I say team, I mean like the coaches and stuff like that. I don't mean like Paul Mullin and that. I'm sure they don't get a say. No, they don't all sit around a table.
No, although senior players will get a say. Senior players will get a say in things. Not that they will necessarily go with what the senior players say, but they will definitely take on board what some senior players will put across.
Yeah, but I do think that the team who make all these decisions have got something in mind for Jake, because why else would they sign him?
Usually,
not sign him. Extend his contract.
Usually, the reason for extending someone's contract, if you have no real plans for him in the team, is to make sure they've got a decent length contract for when you sell them, because the shorter the contract, the less fee that you could demand.
Oh, right. So it might be.
Yeah. So what you will notice sometimes is people will tie people down to contracts. And I'm not saying this is what's happened, but you would tie somebody down to a contract extension so that if somebody then comes in to buy them, you could then go, well, he's got 3 years left on his contract here. We don't need to do anything. So, the fee goes up the longer the contract. So that potentially.
And with Elliot Lee and Paul Mullin, I don't think that's on, their mind. I think those two are at the moment.
Are they both 29?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're both. I think they're both 29.
Yeah.
So we've got them for another 3.5 years. Yeah. So in 3.5 years they will be 32, 33. So that you would like to hope we might be there or thereabouts in the Championship by then.
Yep.
Is that is that the end of their road, do you think, maybe? I know this is a stupid question because it's like we've still got a long way to go, but just given the amount of running that both them players do, I'm just wondering where their legs will be at 32, 33, and whether they might develop into different sort of players by then. I don't know.
It's a tough one, isn't it? Nobody can
to be
predict
honest,
the future.
I'm going to apologise now. It's a stupid question to ask.
A little bit, because who
popped in my head.
Who can predict what's going to happen?
Who
knows what's going to happen
Look,
tomorrow?
It's very good. It's very good news. It's very good news.
It is.
A lot of talk at the moment about Arthur. Obviously, with the transfer window being open, a lot of people are saying, let's sign Arthur. Not to disappoint anyone, I don't think anything's going to happen with Arthur in this transfer window, if I'm perfectly honest. And the reason for that is we already have him on loan until the end of the season. So I'm not sure anything's going to happen in January. Although he doesn't have that long left on his Arsenal contract, it's not out of the question that something would happen in this transfer window. Although I can't see it happening. I think we might be waiting till the summer.
Yeah.
Or we might come to maybe some sort of agreement now, ready for the summer. I.e., agree a fee now, even though his contract. I don't know. We
won't necessarily hear about that, will we?
We won't.
It's all very close.
Yes.
Close close to the chest.
Yes, I'd say so. So yeah, I'm not sure we're going to hear too much about Arthur, to be honest, but we'll have to wait and see on that one.
It would be nice though.
Yeah, it would be, because I think
Just to get that, you know.
young goalkeeper. He's still learning. He's definitely still learning, but he's very good, very good, and I think he's a good foundation and building block for what we'll want to create it moving forward in the future. I would say so. Anyway,
Yeah.
a bit of news today about Lawrence Shankland. So anybody who doesn't know who Lawrence Shankland is, he plays for Hearts in Scotland. They
He's
are
Scottish?
he is, yes. They play in the Scottish Premiership, so the highest possible league. So they play with Rangers and Celtic and Hibs and all them top teams. They're in Edinburgh. If that helps you out with anything, no. So he is quite prolific as well. So he scored, I'm going to say about 37 goals in 56-ish games. Very good stats for a striker, although he is a penalty taker as well. So a lot of them goals are going to be penalties, not just open play.
Yeah.
But the rumour is that we have heard is that Wrexham have had a bid accepted for him. This is not from anyone within the club or anything. This is from a third-party source, so don't take our word for it. But that we've had a bid accepted for him, and it's a 7-figure bid. Seven.
I know.
Which
I wonder if he would be the most expensive, one on the team.
Yeah, of course he would. Yeah.
Well, he's a Premiership player, isn't he?
Yeah.
Albeit not the EFL Premiership, but.
No.
I'd shut up. I don't know.
Okay. So interesting. Watch this space. I think he'd be a fantastic addition if it's true. The fact that we're bidding 7 figures for players now.
But like you said, nothing official's come from the club. His name has been bandied around quite a bit, I think, on social media.
Recently, yeah.
Yeah, so who knows? It could be just, it could be a rumour, it could be true, there could be something in it, there might not be. But I suppose we'll wait and see. We've got another 31 days. No, we haven't. We've got another 30 days left of the month.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's a long time.
It is. So yeah, wait and see on that one. There have been a few other rumours, but that's the one that sort of stuck out for me. That really,
the 7-figure.
Yeah, it really sort of went.
It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. But if he's worth it,
well.
Do you think? Dan, here's a question for you. Do you think with them? Obviously looking for, because he's a striker, isn't he? So obviously them looking for a striker. Do you think that is, because obviously Ollie Palmer is injured at the moment. Do you think that's maybe it's coming to the end of his career with Wrexham? Ollie Palmer, this is.
I've mentioned that to you before. I thought that for a while.
Yeah.
I think Ollie's time with Wrexham is pretty much done.
He's had not much game time, has he, really?
Not really. I would say he's fallen right down the pecking order. I would say he's, with the strikers we've got, I would probably still put him ahead of Jake, just for experience and sort of like that he's gathered over the years. But he's definitely behind Paul, Steven, and Sam, I'd say, at this moment in time. I think he's probably behind all 3 of them. You're in the 4th position for 2 spots. I can't see him fighting his way back. And I think he's important to have in the squad because it's nice to have them options. But if you bring another striker in, I'm not sure.
If you're paying £1 million for a...
Whoa, we don't know how much it is.
£1 million, possibly.
We're paying, supposedly, paying 7 figures. That doesn't mean it's £1 million. That means it's at least £1 million.
Well, let's, for argument's sake, say it's $1 million.
Yeah.
You're not going to pay $1 million, or whatever it is, for a player and just sit him on the bench. You're just not going to do it, especially the way,
No, you're not. No, and then all of a sudden, I think Ollie becomes 5th on the list.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bit of a, No, not for me anyway. Anyway, let's jump on to the games that we've had this week. We'll start with Walsall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of a disaster, I would say.
I've been caught in two minds with this game a little bit. I was very much with you, where I was like, look, we haven't played well. We didn't deserve anything from the game. And I do stand by that to a certain degree. Although, watching the highlights back, that regardless of the fact that we were second best to most of the balls, we were second best to the second balls, we were second best in terms of speed and sort of like alertness. We were second best in a lot of areas. But when I watched the highlights back, I've sort of realised we had quite a few chances, and we'll talk about them in a minute. And I just think on another night, it would have been one of them games that we could have potentially won not playing very well. Because we've had, I think, teams at the top of the league, I think they have a lot more bad days than people realise they do. But once it's been and gone, people forget about the performance and they just remember the result. And if you can have, let's say, a block of 5 games and you play poorly, you play amazingly well in 2 of them and win them, but you play pretty poorly in the other 3, but you somehow manage to win 2 of them and draw 1.
Yeah.
Then when you look back at them results, it's 1-4, draw 1. It's not 1-4, draw 1, but you didn't really play well in more than half of them. That's not what's remembered. It's just the results.
Losses.
So I think, like I say, big teams tend to have a lot more average games than people remember. And I just think it could have gone the other way. People might think I'm a bit mad, but after watching, like I say, the highlights back, I definitely think we were a bit unlucky. Not for performance-wise, I don't think that was there, and the levels were there that we normally put in. But just for sheer chances that we created, I think we definitely could have got something from that game. But anyway, Young started with Jones and Evans both suspended.
Do you think that was detriment to the team, them two?
Yeah, Evans definitely. Evans is a full-on Rolls Royce of a player. I think he's just
gorgeous, George.
He is. He's just class, and I think he's going to be huge for us. I think so. And I think I've always loved Luke Young, but when he came in, and if you're comparing apples for apples, I don't think there's any real comparison there. I just think George is so much better than Luke in so many areas, and that's not a slight on Luke at all. I love Luke, and I think he's done so much for this club. But just for level of player, I think George is just so much. It's just so much better.
I just think with Luke Young, he's obviously last season. Well, no, sorry, the season before, so the 21-22 season, he was getting a lot of game time, obviously. And then in the 22-23 season...
Towards the back end more, I'd say.
It's kind of started slanting off a little bit. And, this season, so far, the 23-24 season...
He's had nothing.
So you can kind of argue he's not getting enough game time, so, he might not be on the ball.
No, yeah.
Excuse the pun.
Yeah, that's true. But I'd go as far as to say George Evans this season compared to Luke when he was playing it week in, week out, I'd still go George over Luke, I think, for me.
But Luke Young's only ever played in National League teams, hasn't he? He's never played in any other team above the National League.
Yeah, move on. I can't remember where...
I'm sure
he's at Torquay and that, but I'm not sure. I don't think so. No, maybe not.
Yeah.
So maybe what you're saying there is he might be punching above his weight a little bit about playing in League Two.
No, I don't say that.
No, but that's sort of what you're saying.
I don't know.
You're so non-committal.
I am when it comes to Luke Young.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, my chair's squeaking. I'm gonna
They're both squeaking.
Yeah, they are really bad. So Max kept his place. Now he dropped my iPad. Max kept his place again.
Yeah.
So the question sort of comes back really is, Is he? How much of a run's he going to get in the team this time?
I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because he was another player that was peripheral.
Peripheral.
Peripheral, is that the right word?
Peripheral, yeah.
The 21-22 season.
No, he played most of the 21-22.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not peripheral.
What's...
Peripheral is on the outside.
Oh no,
on the edges, on the fringes.
Well, what's the word when you play a lot? He plays a lot.
Plays a lot.
In the 21-22 season, he played a lot, and I think he was amazing.
Yeah, he learned a lot.
He did learn a lot because obviously he had Ollie Palmer and all that, all them.
Ben Tozer, I'd say more so.
That's who I meant, not Ollie Palmer, because we were just talking about Ollie Palmer.
Yeah.
And 22-23 season.
Tailed off, yeah.
Tailed off again.
Yeah.
And then he's obviously come back in the mid-season this season.
Yes.
Due to, I'm assuming, like injuries.
Yeah.
Send-offs. Red cards.
Send-offs.
Red cards and all that jazz. So will he, now people, they're all coming back now from injury. Like your Barnetts and your others.
Different position though.
I know. But what I'm saying is people are starting to come back from injury and, their red cards.
But they're midfielders, the red cards, so don't worry about them.
No, but what I'm trying to say is, stop interrupting me, Ryan.
Do you remember about 5 minutes ago I asked you a question though?
What did you ask me? No.
Is this him starting to get a decent run in the team? Or
my point is...
Yeah. Oh my God.
My point
Do you know what? We said before we started recording this, Sian goes, it doesn't matter if it's not an hour, this one. I said, no, because, we're quite not underprepared. We are prepared, but just not as prepared as we normally would be. So I said, if it's not an hour, it's fine.
It's going to be an hour.
It's going to be an hour and a quarter at this rate.
Basically, what I'm saying is he's played a lot. He's kind of tailed off. He's starting to play again a few games. I can't, as much as I would love to see him, I can't see him being in the starting 11.
When you've got, when like O'Connell's back, Hayden's back, they're the ones who are going to play, is what you're saying?
Well, I mean, Hayden, we don't know, do we? We're a bit...
We don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Under a cloud. So it's a bit of a tough one. As much as I'd like to see him play more often, I think he possibly may not. But,
a quicker answer to that would have been, I don't know.
Well, no, I just wanted to get my point across.
Yeah. So we had Mendy on the right. We had Ford and Barney was back on the bench.
Mendy on the right, Barnett on the left.
No, McLean was on the left.
I know, but I just said Barnett.
So Barney was back on the bench. Ford was on the bench as well. I'm not a massive fan of Mendy on the right, I think he's...
I'm sure you said this before.
Yeah.
Numerous times.
Yeah, I think I have. More so, going forward, I don't have an issue.
Oh, yeah.
I've used Mo Salah as an example. Mo Salah's left-footed, always plays on the right.
That's a very big contrast.
Yeah, I'm just saying, he's left-footed, he plays on the right. Going forward, it's not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
When you're defending, I think it does cause a bit of an issue because your body position isn't always quite right.
Yeah. More susceptible to mistakes.
Yeah, and he always wants to play it with his left as opposed to going for it with his right. So it does. I'm not a huge fan of him playing on the right-hand side, but it's nice to have that option that we've got a defender that can play on that side if we need them to.
Huge fan of Mendy, though.
Yes, yeah, me too. So what have we got? What happened? Oh yeah, Young had a bit of a shot, didn't he? Hit a shot just wide quite early on.
That was a close one.
Yes, yeah.
Close.
It was close. And the game sort of it looked quite open quite early on. I picked out last time we played Walsall, I picked out Hutchison. I don't know. Which one was he? Hutchinson. Yeah. For Walsall. I picked him out. I thought Walsall were quite poor last time we played them.
But
when we beat them. But I picked him out, and I think I mentioned it on the podcast last time we were on. And he was pretty much their standout player, I think, the other night. It was him next who sort of fizzed a shot over the bar. We were sort of quite lucky with that he couldn't. I'm just going to grab a drink here. Then he fizzed the shot just over. For me, it was quite end to end, and I sort of felt like anything could happen.
It did. We lost.
No, but it was sort of like they attacked, we attacked, and it was quite back and forth early on.
It was, yeah.
Jack Earring, which is the strangest name I think I've ever heard.
Earring.
Yeah, it's an odd name, that. But
it's like earring.
No, it is Earring.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he put them 1-0 up after about 15 minutes. I think we sort of thought, oh, here we go again.
Hi there.
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks.
I'm gassy.
Just struggling. So he put them 1-0 up. Nice little back heel on the edge of the box. Put them 1-0 up. When they went 1-0 up, what sort of feeling do you get?
Oh, I got a sinking feeling.
Did you?
Yeah, because I thought, I had predicted. I'm sure I predicted 4-2.
You did. You went for the same result as the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of obviously how we played them at home.
Yeah.
I thought, we've got a good chance, but I think Walsall, they've had a pretty good run recently.
Yeah, they've done really well, and they've beat some big teams at home. They beat Notts County at home. They beat Stockport at home.
We beat Notts County at home.
We haven't played them at home.
No, we haven't.
That was last season. So I'm talking about this season.
We have played them there. No, we played them at home, I mean.
No, we've played them away.
Yeah, they're home. Oh.
Shush now.
Yeah.
They beat Walsall at home. No, shut up. You was passing on to me now. They beat Notts County at home. They beat Stockport at home. They beat us at home. I think they beat Crewe at home as well. These are all, big teams.
The big four.
Well, no, not the big four, but within our league, they're all up and about the sort of playoffs or promotion places. They obviously beat Grimsby on New Year's Day as well. They beat them 6-1 away. That when you see a score like that, you always go, "Oh, someone must have got sent off there." No. Both 11 players, both for both teams, still on the pitch.
Grimsby were having an off day by the sounds of things.
I think Walsall proved against us that they've got something about them now, something that they didn't have earlier in the season when we played them. They've definitely they've started to turn it on a little bit.
When we played them, they were, I think afterwards, they were 13th, weren't they, in the table?
Yeah, I'll take your word for that.
So, do you think they have got enough about them to move further up the table?
Based on what I've seen recently, I would say definitely. Mm-hmm. But it's hard to tell, really. Teams can go on a little bit of a run. They're 11th at the moment. And they are only 3 points off the playoffs. So, a few more wins, and I could definitely see them up and around the
We've
playoff
played them
places.
home and away, so that's it. We're done with Walsall
Yeah, let's
now.
move on.
Yeah.
We got a penalty, sort of like about 20 odd minutes in. Handball. It was. I tell you what I found weird about it. It was definitely a handball. Ref decided he didn't want to book the player for the handball. Which I wasn't that fussed. I'm not one of these people who pushes for red cards unnecessarily. But I just sort of compared it to when we played Coventry. Mm. It felt a little bit similar to that. It seemed quite close to the player. Shot goes in, arms unnatural up in the air, hits him on the arm. He didn't really know where that ball was going. It was a shot on target when it went in, but he decided not to book him and not to send him off. And in the Coventry game, it was a straight red card. And I just found them to be quite similar, really.
I didn't rate the ref at the Walsall game, to be honest. It was a bit of a biff.
Yeah, so Mullin blasted that one in, didn't he? And then 5 minutes after that, he decided he didn't want to score another one. So he had an open goal and he put it over the bar. There was a weird series of events as well, where the ball came in, the keeper caught it, sort of dropped it, nudged it out, and then it ended up falling to Mullin, and he was about 6 yards out, and he somehow managed to put it over the bar, which I don't quite understand. So it was 1-1 at half time. I'd have taken that.
Yeah.
I would have.
Yeah, I would.
I'm not saying I'd have taken it knowing what I know now. I just would have taken it in general. I think after seeing that first 45, it did sort of feel like, oh, I'd definitely take a point from this.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You didn't take anything.
no, Tozer had a header cleared off the line, and then excuse me. Oh, sorry.
You're disgusting.
I know. And then Hutchinson scored a free kick, didn't he? Bit of a blinder. Now,
yeah,
we were watching the game, and when they were they lined the wall up. Ball was placed down, ready for the free kick. And do you remember what I said to you?
You said something about a wall.
No.
I don't know. I've slept since this game. I can't remember what you said.
I didn't say anything about a wall.
You said he was too far over.
No, look, I'm not a goalkeeping expert, but as they were all lined up...
No, you are not.
No, I did turn to you and I said, Arthur looks really far over to me. And I said, if he decides to put it that side, I said...
He's not going to get there in time.
I think he's going to struggle to get over to that. And now, like I say, I am no expert. He lined... The whole point of a wall is you cover one side of the goal and then you cover the other.
Yeah, but he was behind the wall.
And then, no, not really, but...
Yeah, he was.
And then then you bank on your wall doing its job.
Yeah.
You cover that side. I just felt he was a little bit too far over, and I did say that prior, and it sort of makes me feel like I was right because he scored, but I might be wrong. I'm not saying I was definitely right. I might well be wrong, but anyway, he made it 2-0. 2-1, sorry. The keeper made a good save from Mullin on about 70 minutes. Lee then had a shot from outside the box that was quite well saved. Arthur made a save. Mullin at the bar with an absolute stonker.
That would have been the most worldy of goals if that had gone in.
Yeah.
But the fact, because it sort of like went like that, but it was too high and it hit the bar.
Bounced down,
and it was like, nah.
Well, as he was lining up, I was like, because we'd also already sort of thought, it's one of them days today. And then as he was lining up, I was like, don't hit that with your left. Don't hit that with your left foot. And he hit it, and I was like, oh, bloody hell. And it nearly went in. It would have been an absolute peach. But it was like the Tozer header cleared off the line. The Elliot Lee chance that was saved. The Paul Mullin chance that was saved. Mullin hitting the bar, the underside of the bar, and it coming down. When you start stacking up all them chances...
Yeah.
We could have easily not played well and got something from that game. If defending might have been a little bit more switched on, and some of them chances would have fallen our way instead of the other way, we could have walked away with 3 points from that, from playing not very well. So, a lot of people were quite down on like Luke Young. I saw a few negative comments about Jordan Davis when he come on. When he came on,
Crikey.
Oh, it's been a long week. When he came on about him being a bit lazy, and
really, Jordan Davis is never lazy. He's always.
Yeah. Anyway, I saw a few things, and
I think people just go on social media just to moan for the sake of moaning.
Yeah.
Nothing to moan
it wasn't
about.
great, but it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst Wrexham performance I've ever seen either. And as I say, watching the highlights back, you start to realise how many chances we actually had. And it could, it very, very easily could have gone, another way for us.
It could have, but we lost, so let's move on.
Yeah, but they made it 3-1 after that, obviously. And there was lots of screams, mainly from Mark Griffiths, actually, that it was offside. They were going, it's offside. They talked about how it was offside for minutes and minutes and minutes after. I was very confused at the time because I said to you, there's no chance that's offside. I've since seen stills. It's not. He's nowhere near offside. So I've seen the stills. Anybody who still thinks it's offside, you're wrong. It wasn't offside. That third goal he was well onside. So, yeah.
So, are we done with Walsall now?
Yeah, we're done, yeah.
Let's move on to Barrow.
Yes.
This was a game like no other game that I've seen. It felt like it went on for days.
Yeah, it did.
It went, I've lost my co-host. Where are you?
Sorry, I keep feeling like I'm going to cough and I have to get a drink.
So, first half
Yeah.
was just mental. They scored within the first, I don't know, was it like 30 seconds, something like that?
Well, let's go through team news first before you dive straight in. So Fletcher started.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I was happy about Fletcher starting.
Yeah.
I love to watch Fletcher play.
Yeah.
Oh, Fletcher play.
Yeah.
Yep.
Happy with that.
Definitely.
Evans back.
Yep.
Rolls Royce.
Yep.
George.
Yep.
Back in the team. Yeah, and then you were saying disastrous
So
start.
yeah, it was a bit of a disastrous start. I'm not even sure what happened. Well, I do know they scored. I think it was 37 minutes, 37 seconds, or something ridiculous like that.
Basically, the ball came out. They overloaded the left, and so we had two players on one. It sort of fell out. They just crossed it in. Basically, they crossed it in. We were a little bit asleep. As the ball fell into the middle, I just looked straight at Arthur because I always look at the keeper. The keeper gives you a really good indication of whether they got a chance. And Arthur just threw his head up as if to say, "I'm not. There's no chance."
Yeah.
Because he could just tell, where it was coming in and where they were. He was never going to stop it. After what happened on Friday, I was a little bit worried, but I wasn't too worried because we're very good at bouncing back from poor performances. We had a poor performance against
usually a
Walsall.
lot later than we did.
No, what I mean is when we have a poor performance, the game before is what I mean.
Oh, right, yeah, okay.
We're usually very good at shrugging that off and then pressing on and playing well.
I think, you have to, I think.
Yeah.
You can't dwell on something that's happened because it'll just grind you down.
Yeah, I'd say so. But, we are good at that. So I wasn't completely worried. The thing that sort of bothered me a bit was the amount of long balls we were playing.
Yeah, you did mention that. That was a bit weird.
We just kept, it was sort of felt like we were quite static, up front and in midfield. So when our defence had the ball, the amount of shouts we had coming from our stand, of people going, someone show for him, someone move for him, someone do something. It was
the guy sitting next to my dad, actually.
There was lots of them all around us sort of shouting the same sort of thing, someone move, someone. And we did seem quite static.
It's like there was a glitch on the pitch. It was just like
it was weird because what I started doing was I was trying to work out why so many long balls were going up. And I think the main reason why we kept on knocking the ball long is because there wasn't enough movement in front of them for them to play it into somebody. So they just ended up knocking it long. So what I started doing as the ball was coming into the defender.
You jumped on the pitch and started playing yourself. No, you didn't.
I as soon as they had it and they were turned, looking upfield, ready to pass, I turned and looked at that half of the pitch. And everyone was just stood still.
Yeah. So there was a glitch.
Yeah, it was. Everyone was just stood still, which isn't really like Wrexham. It's like Wrexham when we don't play well, that there's no movement and stuff like that. But I don't feel like we weren't particularly not playing well. It was just, I don't know what it was. It might be a bit of fatigue as well.
They've played a lot of games. A lot of games, week,
a lot of games in a short period of time as well. There might be an element of that, but there was a real lack of movement, I thought, and that sort of worried me because we were just knocking these big long balls up all the time, and sort of at first Steven Fletcher wasn't really doing much because he was just having to fight for balls constantly, and it was a lot of that. And then we had the injury.
This proper freaked me out. I've never ever been to a football match. I've seen it on TV and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I've never actually been there when somebody has been injured. And
severely.
Yeah, there was like people, I think there was pretty much every medic that was in the ground was there. The defib was there. I'm not sure they used the defib.
They didn't use the defib, no.
But he was it David Stevenson?
I'm not
sure. Or am I getting the two mixed up?
I'm not sure, but when he went down, I think I turned to you straight away and I went, I think he's out cold.
He didn't move, did he?
No.
But then everybody crowded round him, and then you could see the goalkeeper and I think it was number 17. They were kind of, they hugged each other, so you kind of knew that it was scary, and I know somebody put on social media that, why, and then eventually, I think it was about 10 minutes, they got him on the stretcher and then took him off, and, as good sportsmanship. We
Yeah.
all applauded him going off the pitch.
Don't pay attention to whoever said that. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but I want to put it out there. This person on Twitter commented saying, you know, he wanted to moan after a great win, which for the start is just complete rubbish. He basically said, why were we applauding the Barrow player coming off? Whether they're dying or, you know, just badly injured, you never applaud.
It's a ridiculous comment. I've never been to a game when there's been a serious injury and somebody's got taken off where everybody hasn't applauded.
At the end of the day,
I've never been to a game when that hasn't happened.
At the end of the day, that person is a human being.
Yeah,
whether he's in the opposite team or what, but that really got my
So I don't think you have ever seen a really serious injury.
No, and I'm glad I wasn't, because it was at the Cop End goal.
Yeah.
So we're not sure whether he banged heads with another player or he hit himself on the post. We're not sure what happened.
Not sure. We haven't seen it, but we're filming this straight after the Barrow game.
Yes.
We've come home. We've had some food quickly, and we've just jumped it straight in to do this. So we don't really know anything other than that.
But Barrow did update their socials, and they've said that the one who was unconscious for a long time, he is in hospital. He's talking and conscious, but they're running tests, obviously. And then I'm assuming we're going to go on to the other injury that we had.
Well, you can mention that one now, in the second half.
In the second half, we had another similar injury where McLean and this other player...
Flying headbutt,
McLean was fine,
as
we can all imagine. But this other player went down. Again, it was another few minutes. I'd say about 5 minutes, not as long as the first one.
Yeah.
But he didn't need to go. He's been checked out, and he's fine. He didn't need to go to hospital. So
so the first one was Lucas Stevenson. No, it was David Worrell.
And the other one was Lucas Stevenson.
The other one was Lucas Stevenson. So when David Worrell went off, Lucas Stevenson come on. And then it was Lucas, and then it was Lucas Stevenson who got injured the second time.
Crikey. So I obviously we were concerned, but I made a joke saying the Wrexham Mile is going to be busy tonight.
Full of Barrow players.
Full of Barrow players, because they those two injuries aside, obviously they were quite serious, but they seem to be flaying all over the place, like those little fish things that you can get.
Yeah, I know.
But
I've lost it.
But I'll just carry on talking then. So obviously the first injury happened, game carried on. Obviously they had a sub for Barrow, and then something, I don't know what it was, but something just happened, and there was just goals galore before half time. We were 1-0 before, and
it took a while after that.
It did, but I mean, it did take a while.
Just before that, McLean got booked. And I think he was very lucky. I'm going to be honest, right? I think McLean was very lucky. He flew into a tackle, and the ref. But look, back in the day, that tackle was fine.
Mm-hmm.
He got the ball. I think it was fine. But these days, you can't do that. He was out of control. It was quite reckless. He only got a yellow.
You went red card. Red card.
I was worried. Look. Was it a red card in my view? Absolutely not. I think it's so wishy-washy these days when it comes to red cards. Knowing the rules as I do, I had a horrible feeling that he was going to be off for that one. But he wasn't. He just got a yellow. But I had a feeling. Now I wanted a beer, right? So what I did, I said to you, I'm going to go down and get a beer. And you went, it's quite a long time, and because it was 14 minutes added on.
I'll just buy a beer and I'll put my gloves by it.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back out.
Yeah, because I was
like, your gloves are going to protect your beer.
I just had a feeling. There's sometimes when you can just go, do you know what, I'm going to go and get a drink. I'm not even bothered about missing the last 5 minutes of the first half. But anyway, I went and got a drink. As you say, I put my gloves next to it and came back in. Lucky I did, really, innit? Right. I'd have missed 3 goals. So we scored 3 goals in 4 minutes. So let's round them up quickly. Fletcher.
Worldie.
I'm not sure it was a worldie, but
I thought it was.
Very good touch. Took the ball in, put it in the corner.
Bang.
Bang. Very good. Next one after that, bit more of a worldie, I would say. Mullin's free kick, absolute cracker. Right in the, I want to say top corner. I don't think it was top corner, but
What
brilliant.
did you say to me? You said Mullin it doesn't pass or something like that. So it's
No.
going to be a shot.
Yeah, because you were standing over it. There's usually a few people standing over a free kick, and we looked. I mean, it's just Mullin. I said Mullin doesn't cross. I said this is a shot. This is.
It was a pretty
If
good
you've
goal.
got a free kick and you want someone to cross it in, it's not Paul Mullin that you're putting on it to cross it in. So you knew he was going to have a shot, and yeah, it was a cracker, absolute cracker.
I don't think the goalie had any chance getting that.
And that was 2 goals in like 2-3 minutes. I thought, to pull that out after that first half, I thought that's decent. And then Steven Fletcher pops up.
The Flying Scotsman.
The Flying Scotsman for his second.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was just like, well, I didn't expect to be 3-1 up at half time. I thought that was mental. Where we pulled that from, I've got no idea. Well, we just took complete control of the game. 3 goals in 4 minutes. Crazy. I mean, they were like 45 plus 9, 45 plus 11, and 45 plus 13 or something like that. I don't know what they were, but
there was 14 minutes added time, wasn't there? Which it just felt like when I said to you, didn't I? When the half-time whistle went, it felt like it was a full-time whistle because it was so like.
I felt like we were there for days.
Oh, it was because obviously we were just standing around waiting for the injured parties to be removed.
Yes. Second half, we can run this down quite simply. Fletcher got his hat-trick. That's about it, really.
Yeah.
Apart from the
4-1
injury. And then I know Ford had a bit of a double chance towards the end. They hit the post right at the end. Apart from that, it was just very much business-like. There wasn't the sort of furore of the first half.
To be honest, I think once we got the 4th goal, I think it was a case of keeping the ball with our guys.
You're very right.
Passing it to each other. Passing it back towards our goal.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that was their kind of thought process.
Yeah.
We're 4-1 up. Let's just keep the pressure on and keep the ball at our feet rather than passing it.
Yeah. The thing that made me laugh was obviously Steven Fletcher's an aging gentleman. He hasn't maybe got the fitness or the limbs and joints that he once had. He scored his hat-trick and they were like, right, get him off. And they took him off straight away. They were like, well, you've got your hat-trick, just get off now.
I think it was a good time for him to go off, though.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
definitely.
the Man of the Match sponsors obviously made him Man of the Match.
Impossible to give it to anybody else when a player scores a hat-trick. Forget that he scored a hat-trick. Put him to one side for a minute. Who's your man of the match?
Steven Fletcher.
No. Listen to what I'm saying to you.
I know, I'm not.
Forget that he scored a hat-trick. Put him to one side, out of the way.
So I'm not allowed to say him.
Exactly, that's my point.
Cannon. I thought he played pretty well in the first half.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he would have been my man of the match because I said that to you, didn't I? I said, as far as the first half's gone, I thought Cannon was playing. He made a couple of mistakes.
I think George Evans for me. I think he just looks so slick.
That's because you fancy him.
Who doesn't? Right, so we got one game coming up this week. It's our FA Cup 3rd round game at the New Meadow to play the Sallops.
Yep, we didn't get tickets. Really annoyed.
Yeah, so it's against Shrewsbury. They're 34 miles away across the border. The last game was in 2008, which we lost 3-0 at New Meadow. They've beat another 2 League 2 teams in this competition this season. So they beat Colchester 3-2 in round 1. And they beat Notts County 3-2 in round 2. Okay. They beat Fleetwood 3-1 on New Year's Day. This season in the league, they've won 9, drawn 3, and lost 14. They're currently 13th in League One on 30 points. Their top scorer is Shay Dunkley. What's your prediction?
I'm going to go 2-1.
Shrewsbury?
No. Don't be stupid. 2-1 us, you dope.
I'm going to go... What am I going to go?
7-0.
No. 1-0.
Yeah?
Yeah.
To Wrexham, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
1-0 for me, I think.
1-0.
Yeah. Get your predictions in the comments down below, or failing that on the day, there'll be a TikTok or Twitter video.
Yeah.
That goes out where we do our predictions.
You sound like such a granddad.
I know. Well, we put our predictions out there, so you can comment on that if you want to get your predictions in as well.
Nobody got today's prediction right, by the way.
No, I went for 3-1.
Oh, our nephew was there. He said 2-1 at the beginning.
He changed his mind 3 times. He said when it was 3-1, I said 4-1. And I was like, I don't think you can do that.
No, you didn't, Zach.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone got that right. I think it was a bit of a difficult game to kind of predict, really.
Yeah. Anybody wants to get in touch with us, you can get in touch on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or email us at me, the wife, and wrexhamafc@gmail.com. Quick one for shout out for Dragon Chat. It's a mental health peer support group. They want to run a weekly Zoom call on a Thursday from 7 p.m. till 8:30. The best thing to do is follow Dragon Chat Steve Lloyd on Twitter. They also do something called Dragon Chat Strollers, but the best thing to do, as I say, is follow them on Twitter, and then you get all of the information.
Can I just say something?
You've
sent me the PowerPoint with the quiz on it.
No, I haven't. That's the quiz from last week.
Okay, I literally saw the words and I put it down.
Quiz from last week, that was. I haven't done a quiz this week because I've been too busy drinking and eating this week.
And just basically being merry.
Yes, so I haven't done a quiz, but I've decided to do it a little higher or lower. I did say to you earlier, I've got something to keep in my back pocket. Just thinking, when I can't be bothered, this is that time. I'll be back on it next week, don't worry. So, higher or lower, okay? So, what we're going to do, You're
spinning me around.
Sorry. We're going to start with, following the games on New Year's Day, we're looking at league positions, okay? And I'm going to read out a team for you.
Yeah.
And then you need to tell me if the team that I say is higher or lower in the league than the one before.
Right, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So the starting point for you is Swindon Town, okay?
Yeah.
So, your first one, Tranmere Rovers. Are they higher in the league or lower in the league than Swindon?
Higher.
They are higher. Yeah, that shocked me. They're one position higher. They're on the same points. They're only ahead of them on goal difference. Your next team is Harrogate. Are they higher or lower than Tranmere?
Lower.
They're not lower. No, they're higher than Tranmere. They're one place higher than Tranmere.
Okay.
Your next one is Doncaster. Are Doncaster higher or lower than Harrogate in the league?
Lower.
They are lower than Harrogate. Well done.
That's 2.
Yes.
2.
Your next one is Newport County. Are Newport higher or lower than Doncaster in the league?
Higher.
They are higher. Yes, well done. You've got 3 out of 4, so you've got one more left. And your last one is Morecambe. Are Morecambe higher or lower than Newport in the league? They're not lower. They're one position higher than Newport in the league.
How many were there? 5?
Yeah.
You said I still got 3 out of 5.
You got 3 out of 5.
You said 3 out of 4.
You did have 3 out of 4 before I asked that last one. I said you currently got 3 out of 4.
Okay.
This feels all over the shop, this one, I'll be honest. But
yeah, but these ones are usually the best ones.
I don't know, you know.
So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next week.
Right, we're back to normal. I've stopped this nonsense. I'm going to actually tell you what's going on. So next week we're back to normal. So obviously this is, I know all of our listeners have downloaded it at the minute that it comes out. And this is obviously downloaded at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday. But our next episode, back to normal, they'll all be coming out at Mondays at 6 p.m. So we will see you again next Monday for some more fun and games.
Bye.
Bye.